the social fabric of Zambia underwent a profound transformation after independence. As the new flag rose over Lusaka, the government immediately set out to reshape the nation's education, health, and cultural life, aiming to erase the legacies of colonial neglect and forge a unified Zambian identity. However, this ambitious project soon collided with the harsh realities of a collapsing economy, leading to a story of initial triumph, devastating decline, and a long, ongoing struggle for recovery. If you're enjoying this journey through history, please give the video a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more stories to life. Graduation Cap Education. From expansion to crisis. Upon seizing the reins of power, President Kenneth Kaunda declared that education was a right and not a privilege, making universal access a national priority. At independence, the country's formal education system was in a state of ruin. Colonial rule had severely limited opportunities for black Zambians, leaving fewer than 100 university graduates to manage an entire country. The new government's response was swift and ambitious. It inherited a small, racially segregated system and launched a massive expansion to combat these inequities and create an educated workforce. Schools, teacher training colleges, and technical institutes were built across the country, and the curriculum was reformed to emphasize practical skills like agriculture and technical drawing. The crowning achievement was the establishment of the University of Zambia in 1966, a powerful symbol of the nation's commitment to nurturing its own future leaders. Ordinary Zambians contributed to its construction, with some even offering small donations like chickens, a testament to the shared national pride in this project. These efforts yielded significant results. Zambia's illiteracy rate dropped dramatically from 67% at independence to 41% by 1980. However, this success was not without its cracks. A persistent gender gap remained, with literacy rates among men significantly higher than among women. Furthermore, even as the percentage of illiterate people fell, the country's rapidly growing population meant that the total number of illiterate people actually increased, reaching 3 million. This challenge was compounded by chronic underfunding, which led to irregular program expansion and high dropout rates, particularly in adult education. The promising trajectory of the education sector was derailed by the economic crises of the late 1970s. The decline in the economy affected all sectors, including education, leading to serious structural imbalances in education financing. By the 1990s, the introduction of liberalization and structural adjustment programs forced the government to seek partnerships with the private sector to supplement its dwindling resources for education. The era of free education was over, and quality suffered as the state struggled to maintain its ambitious system. Hospital health, the unkept promise at independence, Zambia, buoyed by copper revenues, adopted an ambitious policy of free healthcare for all, emulating the welfare states of the West. The government inherited an unbalanced public health system but immediately began to expand rural healthcare facilities across the country. This initial investment paid off, and there were considerable improvements in healthcare, with average life expectancy rising dramatically in the first decade after independence. By 1964, life expectancy was just over 51 years. By 1975, it had climbed to nearly 56 years, and the infant mortality rate fell from 95 per 1,000 live births in 1964 to 80.7 in 1975. This golden era, however, was short-lived. The economic downturn of the late 1970s dealt a devastating blow to the health sector. As copper prices collapsed, the government was forced to cut spending, and the free healthcare system became unsustainable. Life expectancy, which had risen to 56.3 years in 1978, began a long and tragic decline, falling to just 48.2 years by 1990. The infant mortality rate, which had improved, reversed course and skyrocketed, rising from 80.7 in 1975 to 101.6 by 1990. The situation was dire. Hospitals became chronically underfunded, leading to severe shortages of medicine and equipment. The country's reliance on foreign aid and imports for medical supplies became a critical vulnerability. By 2013, it was estimated that there was only one doctor for nearly 20,000 people. The promise of free, quality healthcare for all had given way to a system struggling to cope with overwhelming demand and a crushing burden of infectious diseases like HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. DNA culture, forging one Zambia, one nation. Perhaps the most unique and enduring legacy of post-independence Zambia is its cultural policy. The new government recognized that culture was to play a crucial role in the overall development of a young, ethnically diverse nation with over 70 different tribes. The goal was to forge a unified Zambian identity out of this mosaic. Central to this effort was President Kaunda's philosophy of Zambian humanism. This ideology sought to shape the politics, culture, and society of post-colonial Zambia and was embodied in the national slogan, One Zambia, One Nation. The state actively encouraged local, tribal ceremonies, reframing them as an authentic Zambian identity that acknowledged the country's multiple pre-colonial traditions while firmly locating them within the modern state. To promote a national culture, Kaunda established the National Dance Troupe in 1966 and instituted a quota system for radio and television, ensuring a greater percentage of Zambian content was broadcast. The government also repurposed institutions like the Livingstone Museum to serve its nation-building goals. While the museum had been established by colonial authorities to exhibit African culture as evidence of European superiority, the post-colonial government used it to reverse that negative image, promote national unity, and glorify Zambian culture and history. The government's efforts successfully revived and preserved distinctive local cultural expressions that had been discouraged by colonial authorities. However, despite this political will, a formal governing cultural policy was not put in place until 2003, meaning that for decades, the development of the arts greatly depended on personal initiatives rather than a systematic plan. From the bold promise of free education and healthcare to the ambitious project of forging a unified nation through culture, Zambia's social journey after independence is one of soaring ideals grounded in a harsh reality. The initial successes gave way to the devastating impact of economic collapse, leaving a legacy of resilient institutions and a proud, if embattled, national identity. The story of Zambia's social development is a testament to the enduring power of its people's hope, even in the face of overwhelming adversity. Thank you for watching. If you found this history valuable, please like and subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective and keep the conversation going.